Coming to you live from Ursprung Gymnasium on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. Welcome in live streaming coverage. It feels like a matinee affair. It's an afternoon Wednesday game instead of a Wednesday evening game. 5 o'clock tip-off today because of bad weather coming into town. It's the Yellow Jackets and the Mount Union Purple Raiders here on BWYellowJackets.com. Glad to have you on board. I'm Brendan Gulick along with Luke Schradel. Luke, this is a bit of a rarity in the sense that usually when two teams play each other this late in the season, it's not the first time they've seen each other, but I guess in the COVID-impacted athletics world we still live in, maybe it's not all that rare. This is the first meeting of the season between these two sides. I'll tell you what, this is one pretty darn good Mount Union team.
Yeah, we've been waiting a long time for this one, and this Mount Union team, best defense in the OAC, two really good defensive teams going at it tonight.
Mount Union comes into today's game ranked 11th nationally. They are 16-2 on the year, and they're in their black jerseys here this afternoon. Only losses on the season were to Marietta and early in the year to Heidelberg. They got handled by Heidelberg back in early December, but turned around and put a thumping on the Student Princes a couple weeks ago to return the favor. Only 2 losses of the season for the Raiders. This one's out of bounds. Mazzio lost it. Mount Union 2 seasons ago, they were 27-3, OAC regular season and tournament champions. 27 wins was a school record. They were a Sweet 16 team as the Jackets turn it over there on the inbounds and give up an easy layup to Ethan Stanislawski. We'll give you the starting lineups here in just a moment, but there's a Purple Raider team that in their last 66 games since the beginning of the 2018-2019 season, they've got a record of 55-11. So they've had quite a good run here as Shane Zalba hoists a 3 from the corner, fires a little long.
Yeah,
Chris,
and inside this season, they're 6 in a row, and they bring that here with 5 guys on the floor who all average over 10 points per game.
Stanislawski buries a 3-ball, and it's 5-0 Mount Union. Chris Painter Jr., Darrell Newsom, Ethan Stanislawski, Braden Poole, and Logan Hill, the starting 5 for Mount Union. Mazzio fires a triple, and he buries one on the left wing. Has a little fun, exchanging some what seemed to be jovial words with Newsom. Now remember, these guys know each other really well, right? Anthony Mazzio, a Massillon-Jackson high school player, and a ton of Akron-Canton area guys on that Mount Union roster. The Yellow Jacket star shooter Mazzio, as a quick jump shot there from Braden Poole. Mazzio certainly knows these Purple Raiders pretty well, not just from his college days.
And he gets into his usual rhythm. 19th in the NCAA in three-point percentage, knocks down that one.
Nice move, Shane Zalba. Up and underneath for 2. It's 7-5. The Yellow Jackets with Jake Snyder, Anthony Mazzio, Shane Zalba, Drew Wennis, and Christian Pfeiffer. Those 5 guys have started now all 18 games this season as Stanislawski glides to the rim for 2. Baldwin Wallace 11-6 on the year. They're in 4th place in the league behind the top 3 teams that have a little separation. Marietta undefeated in conference play, and then you've got Heidelberg and Mount Union with just a couple losses in the OAC. Heidelberg is half a game in front of Mount Union at the start of the day today because there were a couple of games played yesterday. Heidelberg beat John Carroll last night 76-74, and Capital knocked off Wilmington 63-51 yesterday. Pretty much everybody across the league had their schedule altered a little bit by the bad weather, except for one game, Marietta hosting Muskingum tonight. Otterbein and Ohio Northern played early today. I think the game may have tipped off at 11:30. Otterbein beat the Polar Bears 71-67. That one rattles away, and it is off Mount Union.
Good hustle on the offensive glass by Snyder.
9-5, Mount Union out in front. You mentioned winning streaks. Unfortunately, the Yellow Jackets' nice stretch had come to a screeching halt last week when they played those top 2 teams in the league, Heidelberg and Marietta, as Snyder's jump shot is off target The Jackets were so close to knocking off the Student Princes, but fell short in that game, 65-64. And Marietta handled the Yellow Jackets 94-82 on Saturday down in Southern Ohio. So BW fell to 6-4 now in conference play with a couple weeks remaining. Zalba's three from the right corner hits off the back of the iron. Mazzio in a little bit of trouble, but pulled it down anyways. Wennis lost it on his way to the bucket, hit off his knee out of bounds.
It's been an offensive struggle early. 2 of their first 8 to start this one out. Got to find your rhythm. You know, this Mount defense is really going to make it tough to score all day. And specifically Newsome, you know, averages a steal and about a block a game. A guy who gets really active on defense, and they have a couple of those guys. It's not just him.
Chris Painter Jr. with a layup that was a little too easy for Tom Heil's liking, so Coach Heil calls a timeout. It's 11-5 Mount Union at the 16:04 mark. I haven't had a chance to introduce the coaches to you. Of course, Tom Heil, in his 7th season now at BW, he's done a really, really good job. And I think it's always a testament to what you're capable of doing as a coach when you have maybe a senior-laden team one year and you know the next season things are going to look a lot different. Obviously, last year the Yellow Jackets had an even shorter than most teams had schedule-wise because of COVID. And 2 years ago, the Jackets were really senior-heavy, and I think Tom Heil's got a team he's really happy with this year. With the exception of just a couple of frustrating losses, they've been in most of their games they haven't won. And obviously an 11-6 record is a pretty good thing considering how young this team is, expecting to have the vast majority of them back next year. On the other side, Mike Fuline, boy, does he have a good group and a good thing going right now as Painter steals it away. And the reigning National Player of the Week lays it in with a left hand. A couple of good moves there, and Painter glides to the rim. He's only started 4 games this year. He's played in all 18, and Chris is the leading scorer. I'm sorry, Christian Parker, leading scorer on the Purple Raiders, but Painter having a nice run of form lately. (13-7).
Only 1 miss on offense for Mount to start things off.
And they've gotten a lot of high percentage looks, and I guess when you're feeling it, that helps too. Painter buries one from the left corner.
Yeah, they're getting a lot of great looks, but BW is not making things tough. They got to be better on defense, and you can't turn it over like that.
Excellent pass inside to Poole, but it didn't work out the way they wanted. Christian Parker waiting to check in, sitting over at the scorer's table at the moment. And a foul in front of that Purple Raider bench. Remaining schedule for Mount Union: BW, Wilmington, Marietta, Capital, Muskie, and Otterbein, the final 6 games of the regular season. Of course, that game against Marietta 1 week from tonight is certainly going to be a big one down in Alliance. Looking forward to following that one. Get a few changes on both sides, including Parker, the 6'6", 215-pound sophomore out of Canton Glen Oak. Checks in the paint. Easy to spot with those purple sneakers.
Rob Watson checks in. He's more of the rim protector for this Yellow Jacket team. It's been too easy at the bucket for the Raiders early.
Mazzio to the rim for 2. Anthony Mazzio just a couple tenths of a point behind Massinelli down at Muskingum for the top scorer in the OAC this year. But Parker at just a shade under 19 a game is right on their heels. Those two guys can certainly light it up. 16-9. This is Luke Driscoll into the game. Samson Albert gets this pass. Great ball fake. Samson dishes underneath. Watson does the dirty work but can't score. And this frustrating start continues where the Jackets find themselves down 7. Mount Union's missed their last couple shots though. That's a traveling violation, sure is. Parker shuffled the shoes. Mentioned Mike Feuline earlier. There are not many guys in this conference that I think are more likable than Coach Feuline. He's a really genuine, good dude. And can certainly see why his guys love playing for him. He's built quite a program. Now in his 11th season coaching Mount Union. Good little hesitation there. Painter swirled all the way around the rim and a late blocking call.
Yeah, as a player, to have a guy that genuinely believes in you, I mean, that's just unmatched. There's nothing better than that. And you talk about how genuine and he is, and that's so important on the basketball court. You got to have a guy who's just going to be able to tell you how it is, especially when you have a team loaded with stars.
Well, they certainly do have a good number of guys that are still on this roster from the team 2 years ago that unfortunately didn't have a chance to try to win a national title because they were one of 16 schools that ended their season with a win. There was no Sweet 16 2 years ago. Nice move, Rob Watson. Took Parker right to the rack and lays it in with the right hand. And Watson will go to the line for a three-point play. Of course, the Yellow Jacket ladies know that feeling too. They won each of their 2 games right here on this floor in the opening 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. And before they had a chance to actually go up to Hope, the rest of the tournament was canceled and our college athletics world was turned on its head as we know it. Watson unable to complete the three-point opportunity, so the Jackets stay down a touchdown here. 18-11, 7 minutes in. But a lot of guys on this Purple Raiders team still around from a couple seasons ago. Easy lay in there from Parker. Logan Hill, who is not a 4-year player, but has been at Mount Union now for a couple of seasons. I believe this is his 3rd year after transferring in. He was a Division I player and has made a nice difference for them in the paint. Samson Albert with a nice move, slicing his way through the left side there.
A couple of great early drives for him. Love to see him get started. Hasn't really made an impact that's been really large this season in any game, but he's still a great player.
Stanislawski, high arcing 3. He's got another one. That's 3 threes now for Mount Union, 2 of them for Ethan, as Albert steps back and misses from about 15 feet. Stanislawski's got 10 points on 4 of 4 from the floor. Chris Painter hasn't missed either, 3 of 3. And Parker has 4 points after that layup. Tom Heil can feel it slipping a little bit. You can see he's not too happy with the defensive effort. Suddenly 25-13 Mount Union. We'll step aside briefly on BWYellowJackets.com. Well, BW's got the ball out of the timeout. We are almost halfway through the first half, and Tom Hiles had to burn a couple of timeouts already, 4 minutes apart, because his team defensively is not really getting it done at the moment. Anthony Mazzio buries a nice long-range 2-point jump shot, cuts it back to 10. Mount Union 10 of 13 from the floor. It's not that they're necessarily out-rebounding BW. Luke, they're just getting a lot of really good high-percentage looks, and on top of that, when you hit a couple from the outside, you feel like you can't miss anything. Even that swirls home. Nice play, Braden Poole.
Unbelievable finish. Just how did he make that spin into the basket?
Jackson Simmons enters the game out of the timeout. Watson back to work and misfires from right underneath the basket. Mount Union, top 10 nationally in scoring margin. They're 9th, beating teams by an average of 17 points per game, 83-66 the average score. They are also 4th in the country in blocked shots per game and 4th in field goal percentage. They hit, on average, through their first 18 games, they're shooting 51% from the floor. That's ridiculous.
It's just unbelievable. And you can see why they're doing that type of stuff. Tonight they're already 80%.
Driscoll looking for some help. Rob Watson, little Euro step through the lane. That was a nice athletic move. When the ball came free, Jackson Simmons helped him out. Perhaps the only weakness Mount Union has shown so far, and I don't just mean tonight, I just mean in general, they've not been a great free throw shooting team. I don't know if 66% is a full-blown liability, but for a team that has, some serious NCAA tournament aspirations, you've obviously got to take a lot of pride in what you do from the free throw line, and you can win and lose games based on whether or not you shot your foul shots well. Watson throws it away. Simmons got back, but a good move from Poole, and he scores. This is getting out of hand here. 33-17 Mount Union, just over halfway through the opening half tonight. And a foul on Braden out near midcourt. Road to the Final Four this year ends in Fort Wayne, Indiana. It's actually the same place it was the last time they had that tournament. Back, I guess now 3 seasons ago, because each of the last 2 Final Fours have been canceled. There was no national tournament at all last year with COVID. But everybody's expecting things to be back to normal and a full NCAA tournament field this year for all winter sports. Samson Albert, I beg your pardon, that's Jake Snyder. Albert was underneath looking for the rebound. Snyder missed the 3. Andrew Keller tucks it, flings it over his head. I think perhaps he was expecting a whistle. Never came. Zalba feeling some heat there from Newsom. Jake Snyder blocked from behind. Scariotis with a really nice play. He's coming off a great game. He was really good against Ohio Northern last time out.
He's got one of the best assist to turnover ratios in the nation. About 6 assists to a turnover.
Tough work underneath. Logan Hill hit the back of the rim. The Jackets pulled it down. A lot of work to do for BW, down 16. Good idea with Zalba cutting in the middle, but it got picked off. Christian Parker lost the handle. Albert the other way, trying to lead a 2-on-1, and Snyder couldn't handle it. Finally a foul called as Newsom came in and extended the arms.
Yeah, the physicality of this Mount defense has been too much to handle early on. You got to fight back. You got to show your own physicality on the other end. I mean, it's just too easy to drive to the basket if you're BW on the other end defensively. Maybe foul a guy, make him feel like you're there, and they just really haven't got into the teeth of this Mount offense.
Snyder inside, Pfeiffer on Logan Hill. He puts it over the rim. Painter now. Parker, one power dribble, turns and puts it up too flat.
That's more of a shot you can live with there.
Excellent anticipation. Andrew Keller's playing his heart out on the defensive end of the floor. Really good work. Keller averages only about 9 minutes per game. He's played in most games, missed a couple, but love his energy here in the first half. Logan Hill, much better contested. Both teams have gone a little quiet here the last few minutes. Zalba finally ends the drought, 33-19, 6:40 to play. Mount Union was 10 of its first 13, but only one of its last 7. I beg your pardon. 4 of its last 7. Thought my math was a little off there. Yellow Jackets are shooting 37%. Mount Union's at 70%. Shot clock winding down. Chris Painter, no problem. I mean, my goodness. That's a couple now. One from the corner and one from a long way out. Good defense there against Christian Pfeiffer. 3-on-3 with Parker gliding to the rim for 2. Boy, Baldwin Wallace is really flat right now as Mike Fuline calls a full timeout. It's 38-19. The Yellow Jackets obviously are not having a particularly good offensive performance right now, but Mount Union's running them up and down the floor.
Yeah, it's just way too easy in transition, and this you can't have this points off turnovers. You know, you have 7 turnovers, and you have 0 points off their turnovers either. So they have 8 points off your 7 turnovers, and you're really just not playing well in transition, not getting up the floor, and some of that's hustle, and some of that's effort, and they've just looked really flat tonight. But I tell you, Mount is really impressive all the way down the roster. You know, you talk about Andrew Keller. He just had a career-high 19 points against Heidelberg the other week, and he's coming out here performing. All of their guys are coming, and they're showing out tonight.
Mentioned Mount Union was ranked number 11 in the country in the latest D3 Top 25 released on Monday. Right now, the unanimous number 1 team nationally is Randolph-Macon. They did lose earlier this year. Lost an overtime game at the buzzer to Christopher Newport, but Randolph-Macon is very, very good. Out of the Old Dominion Athletic Conference. They're from Ashland, Virginia. And they actually beat Marietta. They're one of Marietta's couple of losses. Pioneers are up to number 3 in the country. Marietta at 16-2. Leaders in the OAC at the moment. They're 11-0 with that loss to Randolph-Macon. And they've also dropped a game to Roanoke back in November. That's a Roanoke team who also plays in the ODAC. Roanoke's 15-4, so it's not like Marietta lost to a couple of lackluster programs. Pioneers look like the kind of team that could make a deep run into March. I know Mount Union hoping that they can put a stop to that, at least for a little bit, next Wednesday night. But the Pioneers have won 14 consecutive games now after wins over Otterbein and BW this past week. You don't have a ton of separation, though, when you even get down toward Mount Union. They've received, as Christian Pfeiffer goes to the line, Mount Union at 381 votes in the most recent poll. And there's only 13 votes that separate them from 9th place. And then there is just a small jump forward to Wisconsin Lacrosse at number 8. By the way, how about Case Western Reserve and the season they've had? The Spartans are 15-2. And for the first time in a very long time, the Spartans are nationally ranked 23rd this week. Heidelberg just outside the top 25. You got some really good quality basketball here in the Great Lakes region. Zalba blows an open layup. That was frustrating. Mount Union leads by 20. Parker, Painter, Stanislawski all working together. Inside, Christian, easy finish. Painter and Parker have a good thing going right now, and to think that Christian Parker, as a sophomore, has been their most productive player of the year as Zalba hits a 3. Christian Parker, I think, is an excellent chance to potentially win the OAC Player of the Year this year. He's been as good as anybody across the league and as consistent as anybody across the conference. Mount mishandled one there. The Jackets turn it over. Sophomore out of Glen Oak stops and scores.
If you think about it, last year Parker only scored 12 points and had 7 rebounds in his first collegiate game here at BW. He's come a long way since then.
He's got 8 20-point games this season, best of which was 28 against John Carroll a week ago tonight. Stanislawski, that's a transition 3, follows his own miss, completely unboxed out. 46-23, Stanislawski's got 14. Mount Union is shooting 73% as Parker blocks him into the backboard. 12 points apiece for Painter and Parker. Stanislawski's got 14. Their balance has been pretty impressive so far. Keller working with Hill, not quite. Pfeiffer grabs it. 3 minutes and change left before halftime. And Mazzio was body checked there by Andrew Keller. Zalba leads the Jackets with 9. 7 for Mazzio. Nobody else has more than 2. Christian Pfeiffer, tough day, 0 for 4. Jake Snyder, 0 for 3. Rob Watson returns. He's got 2 points, but I think Watson's done a good job of making life difficult on the defensive end.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like defense around the rim has been the best when he's checked in.
Welcome to the game, Drew Wennis takes his first shot and scores. He's got 4 rebounds and 1 steal, but hadn't gotten any open looks offensively till that 3. Boy, what a hesitation move. Michael Scariotis. 48-26. Mazzio lost it out of bounds.
But they're getting some good looks on this pick and roll action up top. They're starting to find some lanes to pass it in and get into the cup a little bit better.
Parker back in for Hill for the final 2:32 here. At least I assume so. Maybe that's Wennis, same spot, different result though. And a noticeable slowing of the tempo from Stanislawski here. Parker holding. Painter, it's contested but not particularly well, and he just rips the nets. Feels like Chris Painter hasn't even hit the rim on any of his shots. Mazzio, nifty little move, but he was off balance, then got decked. Painter rejected by Wennis. Mount Union felt there should have been a foul. Mazzio underneath, back on the hardwood, but this time he gets 2 out of it.
I thought he took a tough hit again. He was kind of asking for it here on the near side referee's side. He didn't get that call, but I thought he would have gotten the first one too. It's just been tough to get calls.
Kind of feels like both teams are rather desperate for halftime as Parker, oh my goodness. You know it's going your way when even Christian Parker is burying 3 balls. He's only taken 22 of them all year. Basically 1 attempt per game. Zalba off target. This game is starting to look a little bit like the Heidelberg contest early in the season. Final minute of the half. Mount Union is way out front. Braden Poole, mismatch on Mazzio, and he makes him pay for it. 56-28. Mazzio, no. Mount Union is shooting 71%. They're bringing it up for the final possession of the first half. "12 seconds for Stanislawski. Ethan tried to get a little too cute. He turned it over. That was Mount Union's 5th turnover. Snyder at least beats the buzzer there. So the Jackets get something out of it, although Mount Union probably feels like that was a bit sloppy at the end of the half. And yet, 56-30, the halftime score as Mount Union is running away from the Yellow Jackets. BW hit 36%, Mount Union 71%, including 6 of 8 threes. Means they're 18 of 26 from inside the three-point line. My goodness.
It's been a long time since we've seen an offensive onslaught like this one. I mean, 24 of 34. That's just unbelievable to even read. And early on, it was BW getting some offensive boards, kind of staying active with the effort. But maybe halfway through the first half of the first half is when things just completely turned on its side, and Mount really started to get rolling, not momentum-wise, but just kind of body language. They felt like they were more in it. As soon as that lead started to slip over 20, it's just been unable to even get back there.
Mount Union, 32 points in the paint. The Yellow Jackets have 30 points total. Raiders also have 12 fast break points. They're out-rebounding the Jackets 19-15, and they've scored 10 points off 8 BW turnovers. The Jackets have just the final 2 points of the half there. Actually, you know what? That wasn't a turnover, but BW has 2 points off of 5 Mount Union turnovers. That one at the end of the half there was not a, or I guess it was a turnover. Yeah, they didn't have a shot out of that, so that was their only points off turnovers for the half. 15 points leading the way, Parker and Painter for Mount Union, 14 for Stanislawski, 9 points apiece for Mazzio and Zalba to lead the Jackets. All right, we'll step aside here for just a little bit. 56-30 at the break. Come on back in less than 15 minutes, and we'll continue our coverage tonight of BW and Mount Union. You're watching live streaming coverage of OAC men's basketball on BWYellowJackets.com. Well, ready to start the second half as Baldwin Wallace comes out of the locker room with a lot of work to do. Mount Union 56, Baldwin Wallace 30. Alongside Luke Schradel, I'm Brendan Gulick. That was quite an impressive showcase in the first half from the Purple Raiders. The Yellow Jackets, I thought at times looked pretty good, but certainly missed a couple of frustrating open shots, and then it just kind of compounded on itself as Mount Union kept hitting good look after good look.
And that's a great start. They need to get more baskets inside the paint. Just 16 points there. Mount doubled them in the first half. That's where they got to be better, both offensively and defensively.
Mount Union has been at the top of the league now for a couple of years with Marietta. They lay that one in. And of course, the Yellow Jackets beat Mount Union in the OAC championship game on their home floor in 2019 when the Jackets won league title for the first time in 13 seasons. Wennis cleans it up and scores. 58-34.
Great work on the offensive boards by Drew Wennis. Needs to be more active in this half. Really didn't take too many shots in that first half. He's a guy that really needs to get going.
Newsom tried to creep one up and in there. Didn't quite go. Instead, Mazzio wanted to absorb the contact and totally blew the layup. But the Jackets still possess it. Yeah, Drew Wennis, that was not his best effort. Stanislawski, nope, was not tipped in once or twice. Somebody needs to grab it with two hands. Mazzio comes away with it. And Anthony got fouled by Newsom.
Newsom's been all up in everybody's grill today. I mean, he is just a suffocating defender. He's definitely up there with guys like Shane Zalba in terms of great defenders in this conference.
Third foul on Durrell. He's a bit disappointed, but he's checking out of the game here as Michael Scariotis checks on. Try to get you an update from the women's game, which is going on in Alliance tonight. I believe that game got moved up to 5 o'clock, didn't it? Or is it a 7 o'clock tip?
Yep, it got moved up to 5 o'clock.
I thought so. I'll try to let you know how that one's going. We got a foul there on BW. Or actually, you know what? I beg your pardon, not a foul, but Snyder stepped out of bounds. Yellow Jacket ladies are up to 12th nationally. Looks like they've got a 5-point lead at halftime, 33-28. Keep our eye on that one. Early second half here, and it's all Mount Union. Poole turns around and misses off the backboard. A lot of games still to be played, though. Mazzio, that helps. 3-ball right in front of his own bench.
You know this team can heat up. You saw them set the three-pointers in a game record last season. One of the best three-point percentages as a team in the OAC. I think they're first at around 38%.
Logan Hill, nice little right-handed hook shot. Snyder got stalled, then gets it back. Got a bunch of Raiders to leave their feet, found an open Zalba, and he connects in the corner. 12 for Shane Zalba, 60-40. No panic from Mount Union, but a good start for the Jackets here. It's a 10-4 run to start the half. Braden Poole, the offensive rebound, picked his pocket. Good alertness from Jake Snyder, who slipped and tried to pass behind his back. Mazzio took one off the right shoulder. Boy, this game feels like it's just being played at a frantic pace at the moment. There's a difference between playing fast and playing physical and then playing right now like this team, or I should say these teams are. And Stanislawski recognizes that and says, hey, let's gather ourselves here. Poole down the right lane. He's rejected by Pfeiffer. That was awfully close to goaltending. Instead, it's a 5-on-3. Zalba couldn't take advantage right away, but he's got 2 foul shots.
Going to be just the 3rd Yellow Jacket trip to the line tonight.
By the way, 4 Raiders in double figures now with Poole at 10. Zalba misses the front end. He and Mazzio have a dozen. Simmons, Watson, Driscoll. All on. Christian Parker checks back in from out. And Shane will exit here. Samson Albert checks back in. Jackets are down by 19.
But a good early start, up 6 points in the half. They've come out with better physicality, better focus, and it just looks like they're way more locked in than they were in that first half.
I would imagine that was a lively halftime locker room. Parker, nice move up and under. But some pretty good players at Mount Union during Mike Feuline's tenure. Probably the best one, in my opinion, was Nathan Bauer Malone, but they've had a handful of guys that are really, really talented the last few years. I have a hunch that by the time Christian Parker's career is over, if he stays healthy, he's going to be right in that same conversation for a while. Driscoll was open, but passed up the shot. Mazzio. Good backdoor find. Samson Albert with a little Mikan drill. 62-43. Stanislawski back to Parker. Raises from the top of the half moon and doesn't go. Painter tiptoed the baseline. Scariotis glides his way for a bucket. And a 30-second timeout for Mount Union. Just left the Yellow Jacket players and coaches with their heads hanging after that Scariotis move.
Yeah, it's been just a little bit too much on the offensive glass early in this second half. Got to be better there if you want to hang around against a team that is so athletic.
Can't believe it's already February 2nd. Winter sports seasons are winding down. I was talking with assistant baseball coach Tom DeAngelis during halftime. Their first game is 2.5 weeks away. Hard to believe it, but it is just about time to start transitioning to spring sports. This is always a kind of, at least for me anyways, maybe I'm not speaking for everybody, it's kind of a depressing time of year. You know, we're about to get hit with another 10 or 12 inches of snow, and it makes the spring feel a long way off. But on Groundhog Day, we find out it's 6 more weeks of winter today, right?
Yeah, and, you know, around the Cincinnati area, I'm sure they're looking forward
Oh, yeah.
to a Super Bowl here in the coming weeks.
Mazzio long on the 3. Parker grabs a miss. Good look underneath. Poole kicks back into the corner, and Scariotis puts it down. I mean, the calm with which Mount Union is, showing on the offensive end of the floor. They're playing quick enough, but they've got instances where they just don't ever seem to be rushed. Mazzio off the side of the backboard because he got fouled. Mount Union couldn't believe it.
And with the level of athleticism that this team plays with, It's so easy to beat a guy one-on-one that it also calms you down to be able to pass it to a guy that's just as good as you in the corner, wide open for three. And they've gotten a whole lot of assisted buckets tonight. 11 of the 29 have been assisted.
Well, Mazzio hits both foul shots, so he's up to 14 points. Poole wants to work on Watson. Well, they found him underneath. I'll tell you what, even with Simmons bodying Parker like that, Mount Union just moving the ball faster than the defense could rotate. Driscoll's shot was just barely off target. Newsom and Keller both back on the floor. Anthony Mazzio off target. The referees were double checking something. All right, 69-45. Just over 12 minutes to play. And a blocking foul on Simmons.
Just been too much inside. And you talk about Parker. Some of his post moves with his footwork tonight have been really impressive. That's one of the ways they've been able to get to the basket so easy. Other than those transition buckets, he's done a nice job in the paint area.
I'd be floored if Christian Parker is not first team all-conference this year at a minimum. I'm trying to think about some of the guys in the league that could be in the running for the award, but he is immediately coming to mind. I'm thinking about the OAC Player of the Year.
His teammate Poole last season, first team All-OAC for him.
And Braden's having another good year too. Nice rejection there. It's a 25-point lead. If you joined us a little bit late, this is the first time these two teams have met this season because first matchup was canceled because of COVID. So only one regular season affair between the two. Mazzio has it pulled away. Braden Poole, two-hand flush. If it can go wrong for the Jackets tonight, it pretty much has. I don't see nights like this very often, thankfully. And this one's been tough to watch. Watson and Simmons not in sync. Pfeiffer, Wennis, and Zalba all return. Scariotis back to Parker. Good idea there from Samson Albert. He saves it. Good play. Samson glides all the way to the bucket. Good move from the junior guard out of Revere. Former high school teammate of Pete Nance. Everybody certainly knows Larry Nance in this town. Larry Nance, formerly of the Cavaliers, and Larry Nance Jr., who more recently, formerly of the Cavs. It's Larry Nance Jr.'s younger brother, Pete, who is currently playing basketball at Northwestern, but he was a Revere Minuteman as well. Mount a bit sloppy there. It's their 8th turnover. Parker apparently blocked it into the backboard in time. Scariotis just a little off, but nobody picked him up in the rebound. We're halfway through this second half, and Mount Union tonight, on top of executing at a high level, they are playing like they just wanted a bit more.
They've really played a full 30 minutes so far of just perfect basketball on every end.
Still shooting 62% through 30 minutes as Drew Ennis hits the 6th Yellow Jacket 3 of the night. 76-50. Parker turns around, uses the backboard but misses. Was a little better from Christian Pfeiffer. You know, I'm just thinking about between the two. I think I probably like Marietta's guard play just a little bit better. They've got a couple of seniors that are really good. But I am more impressed with Mount Union's front court than I am Marietta's. And depending on the kind of game those two teams play against each other, you know, who's hot on any given night, it's very possible that, you know, Mount Union could win an OAC championship again here in hoops this year.
Yeah, we saw it in the BW Marietta game. Marietta struggled shooting from beyond the arc, and it was a struggle in the first half shooting overall. And BW was able to keep that game close. And if things got tough shooting the ball against Mount Union for Marietta, that means they have to go inside. And you talk about it, they have the better front court overall. And I think if that ends up being that type of game, Mount Union would come out on top. But right now, if you had to talk about in terms of athleticism, there is no better team than Mount. They are the best in terms of athletes on their roster. They have the best roster of athletes.
Well, again, I don't want to be unfair to Marietta because the reality is Marietta bodied them pretty good. I mean, a 25-point win, including a pretty impressive second half. It was an impressive performance. Newsom was only 3 of 11 in that game. Stanislawski had a good game, 19 points, but Chris Painter was 2 of 10 from the floor. And Mount Union really didn't have much in the way of bench play. Scariotis had a pretty tough game. Offensive foul there on Parker. And on the flip side for Marietta, I mean, Jason Ellis at 20 points. I realize he was 7 of 18 from the floor, but he certainly was effective. And Brennan Crawford came off the bench and had a nice game for Marietta as well. So it'll be fun to watch these two teams play against each other again. Coming up a week from tonight. Newsom buries a triple. (79-52). Wennis is rejected. Mount Union, I mentioned earlier, they are top 5 nationally in shots blocked. They just pulled off their 7th block of the night. Snyder got it.
Yeah, when you have 3 guys that average over a block a game, it's easy to hold the paint up.
Pfeiffer got up top and got a piece of that as Poole went to the rim, but foul called. So Braden Poole to the free throw line, where he's been okay this season, but not great. That's been kind of the case for most of Mount Union's team. Pool's right at basically the team average of 66%. 1 out of 2 there. Albert wanted to go baseline. Need to make sure you have good trail passes when playing against a team like this. Wennis too short. 80-54. It's been even Stevens in the second half, 24 apiece. Snyder thought he had enough of a window to take the shot there. Well, he got it off cleanly. It was well short.
It was a heck of a contest from Stanislawski, though. I mean, he's just been in guys' faces all night.
Parker, friendly bounce. He's even laughing about it. He knew he probably threw one up there that was a bit awkward. It still went home. Albert slides it home. Timeout, Yellow Jackets. 8 points for Samson Albert. He's playing hard tonight. 82-56 as we step aside. (82-56). All Purple Raiders tonight, the number 11 ranked team in the country at 16-2 on the year, and they sure look like it. Shooting the ball at an incredibly high percentage in the first half. They were at 71% at halftime and have only fallen back to 60% for the game with a much more modest second half shooting. But they've gotten a lot of looks just like that last one to make it now 84-56. That's 25 points for Parker. 9th time this year he's at 20 plus. His season high 28. And he got Pfeiffer to leave his feet, but Christian stayed with it and blocked the shot anyways.
That's the first time anyone's got a good contest on any of his shots.
Mazzio fouled on the way to the basket.
Parker and Poole have taken around 28 shots. They've only missed 9 of those. And that all comes around the rim. So the magic touch inside tonight from Parker and Poole, and just the defense inside has not been there. That's been the story from tonight.
All right, 16 now for Mazzio. Perhaps some of it is just the relatively quiet nature of the gymnasium at the moment. but everything feels flat and just kind of dead at the moment. Unless you're a Purple Raider fan, you're enjoying this quite a bit. 27 now for Parker, but this has been rather ugly for the Yellow Jackets. Parker comes out. I'm not sure he'll come back in. I don't know if it'll be necessary, especially considering a couple of the guys that have come off the bench here on both sides don't see as much time, including Julian Berry, the 6'7" senior from Girard, who just checked in. So Parker's day might be done. If it is, 27 is just shy of his career high. Mazzio, not quite. Simmons to Snyder. And Jake Berry's a 3. 7 for Jake Snyder. Jonah McCartney, sophomore out of North Canton Hoover, is on the floor as well. Painter. Oh, yeah. That kid's proven to be a dynamite shooter. Chris Painter Jr. was only 33% on the season from behind the three-point line before coming into tonight. Painter has lit up the Yellow Jackets. 4 of 5 from deep. He's got 18. Watson missed, got it back, and scored.
Great effort from him tonight. He's been the guy relieving Pfeiffer off the bench. He's tried to hold down the paint, but it's just been too much.
That's a travel on Painter. Quick stoppage for the subs. Alex Thielen, junior from Ontario, Toronto area, comes in. Jackets make a couple changes. Trent Jakacki comes in along with Albert and Driscoll. Simmons and Watson rounded out. Jack Davis also on for Mount Union. Driscoll scores over top of Davis. Freshman from Glen Oak. He and Parker were teammates a couple of years ago. Well, the Yellow Jackets the rest of the season with the final 6 games on the calendar, including tonight, 4 of them at home. Only road trips remain are at Muskingum and at John Carroll. They'll host Otterbein on Saturday, and that's a big game in terms of OAC tournament seeding implications. Barry deflects it out of bounds. Otterbein is not far behind the Jackets in conference standings, and then you've got Ohio Northern, who's got a proud program, and I think they've got a few good players, but they've dealt with COVID a lot this year and have not had a great record. Muskingum's got the leading scorer in the conference. You got a big rivalry game with John Carroll, and you play a Capital team to close out the regular season that you just never really know what you're going to see from Capital. They have not had a great year, but at 6-6, certainly competitive. By the way, on the ladies' side, the Jackets lead 43-35, getting later in the third quarter down in Alliance.
The usual 18 points from Lily Edwards, leading the OAC in scoring there on the women's side.
Inbounds pass comes to Keller. Lily's had a heck of a career. She's been so much fun to watch. I'm going to certainly miss her starting next season. Barry with the 3 ball off the back of the rim. 2 minutes to play. Albert finds Simmons in the middle of the key, and he scores it.
Definitely some positives to take away from this game if you're Samson Albert.
I think Samson Albert's playing one of his better games in his entire career. He's been really active on both ends of the floor. Good hands there, getting in the passing lane. 8 points have helped, 4 of 6 from the floor. A good 3 there from McCartney. But I agree with you. Albert, I would expect that with Shane Zalba graduating, Albert's going to have a bigger role next year. And he's certainly showing he can play.
He's a guy that's dealt with some injuries in his career here, but he's been a guy that's been bought in, and you can tell from the way he's played tonight.
Chikaki got it. Quick rolling timeout just to bring in subs on both sides. The senior twins, Ben and Alec Broscheed, check in for Mount Union. The Yellow Jackets bring in Terrell Hicks, Leon Levesky. Let's see. Wyatt Flynn has just checked in. I think Luke Coyne just came off the bench. Final minute of action, 92-71. This is McCartney, 10 to shoot.
I mean, there can't be too many Division III teams that can hide away 2 6'10" guys on their bench.
That was Ben Broscheed that scored. Ben and Alec out of Nordonia High School over on the east side of Cleveland. Chikaki off target with a 3. Shot clock is off, and that should wrap it up. What an impressive performance by the Mount Union Purple Raiders. 94-71. Mount Union shot 61% for the game. BW was okay at 43%. They hit 7 threes, but absolutely no answer for Mount Union in the paint. Christian Parker nearly a career high. He had 27 on 13 of 18. 18 points for Chris Painter, 4 threes. 15 points for Braden Poole. He did not score in the second half. Ethan Stanislawski didn't score in the second half either. He had 14 points. Mazzio and Zalba led the way, 16 and 13 for the Jackets. Albert and Wennis had 8 apiece.
Yeah, this is a forgettable performance tonight from the Yellow Jackets, but, you know, maybe this fuels you a little bit. You know, you get into this snowstorm coming ahead, and you kind of build some anger inside and get ready to unleash it next week against some tough conference opponents.
Yellow Jackets will be back home on Saturday against the Otterbein Cardinals, weather permitting. We certainly expect that we'll have a game on Saturday, but as always, for all the latest, stay up to date over on bwyellowjackets.com. For Luke Schradel and for our entire Yellow Jacket sports information staff, I'm Brendan Gulick. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. The Yellow Jackets lose tonight. Fall to 11-7 on the season. Mount Union goes to 17-2. The final score, Mount Union 94, Baldwin Wallace 71. You've been watching OAC basketball on bwyellowjackets.com.